Oho, hanach hinikarigiwi. Hapte e waiskap hadachgi hiske ha unkchene. Greetings everyone. Today we are going to be making some cowboy bread. So first you're going to start out with some warm water, not hot, just say lukewarm. And then you're going to have yeast, you're going to have salt, you're going to have sugar, and you're going to have flour. So 5 ingredients. So first you start out with 16 ounces. I'm just making a small batch. So you start out with 16 ounces of warm water. And I do about a half a bag of the active dry yeast. You mix that all up. And you let it sit until bubbles start to form. Alright, we're going to let this sit and form bubbles and then come back in a bit. Alright, we got some bubbles forming now, and now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients and mix it in and get ready to let the dough raise. So, I don't really do the traditional measurements besides the water and the yeast, so like for the salt, I'm going to take my hand, and as you can see, when you just close your hand a little bit, you make a little M. So I'm going to do basically 1 M of salt. That's my measurement. So you can throw that in. Now you're going to add your sugar. I just do 1 small handful, about like that. Now I know this is just my way of making cowboy bread. I know everybody's got a different way of making it and different ingredients. This is just the way I do it. It's just a simple, low ingredient recipe, and yeah, it turns out pretty good. So now that we have that, we're just going to mix it in a little bit, and then we're going to add some flour here. So, and you basically just add some flour and mix until it gets kind of tacky. I'll show you the consistency here. You basically just keep adding and mixing as you go. And I mix with my hands. You can mix with a spoon. You can put it in a mixer if you have one. I just do it by hand. So. Just keep adding little by little until it turns tacky and dough-like. Now I will try to put a somewhat accurate description of how much I used for the recipe in the description area. I'll do it for a full batch as well. This is just my little version of a half batch that I make. You can see it's starting to look like dough here instead of batter. And like I said before, just like fry bread, this is just like a once in a while thing. It's just to be consumed in moderation. You don't want to eat this regularly because bread is bad. Bad if you have a lot of it. A little is okay, but alright. Looks like we are just about there. Just gotta finish scraping the sides here. And like I said, it's kind of, that's what you're gonna look for. It's kind of tacky, where it's not too sticky. That's how I like it, like this. Some people like it a little bit drier so they can handle it better, but it's all preference. Alright, we're going to try to get everything off of our hands. We're going to put a little bit of oil on this and then separate it from the bowl, and then we're going to cover it and we're going to let it sit for, I let mine sit for a couple hours, but you can let it sit for an hour. Depends on how much yeast you put in. But alright, we're going to come back in a little bit and I'll put the oil on. Alright, I cleaned off my hands and now we're going to put some oil on and scrape off the sides and separate it and then cover it. So I'm just using some olive oil. So you're just going to do a light coating. Just going to wipe it on there. I got one of these spatulas, so I'm going to coat it in oil so it doesn't stick. And then scrape everything from the sides. A little bit more oil on. Just completely cover it basically so it doesn't stick to the bowl. Now I'm going to use the same bowl here. What I usually do in the past is I'll just take it once it's covered in oil and I'll transition it to a different bowl. But maybe I'll put a little bit of oil. Put a little bit of oil on the outside so it doesn't stick. Stick is bad. Alright, you're going to take a damp cloth or damp towel or damp paper towel and just cover it and then just let it sit for an hour and check on it. It should double in size in an hour or two, and then we'll check back then. Alright, it's been 2 hours, so we're going to check, and you can see that it basically doubled in size. So what I like to do is I like to coat my hands in some oil and basically punch it down, flatten it out a little bit. Like to get it off the sides. And once you get it all flattened out and separated again, you're going to cover it for another 45 minutes to an hour, and it'll be ready for frying. If you're making fry bread, otherwise cowboy bread, you can cook it on the stove. Alright. So I just put a little oil on there so it doesn't get all sticky. And just put it all over the top. Just like that. You're going to get your paper towel or your cloth, hand towel, whatever you're using, just get it damp and just cover it. And then another 45 minutes to an hour, it'll be ready to go. Alright, we'll check back then. Alright, so I've got the dough. I waited another hour and I didn't do anything with it. I just took the cover off. This is flour. I got a little bit of flour here. So a lot of people, they cover their hands with oil when they deal with the dough, but I like to do flour because then it's a little less greasy when you're making it. So you're going to get your pan here. I'm using cast iron, and I'm using medium to medium low heat, and I'm getting the pan. It's nice and hot right now, so I'm just going to use a little bit of oil and I'm going to put it down on here. That should be good. Then we're going to move it all around. Make sure the whole bottom is evenly coated. Alright, we are going to take some flour and we're going to coat our hands. Coat our hands. You're going to make a little mess. Then you're going to take a little bit and then sprinkle it over top of your dough. And then you're just going to pull off some, just a small little clump. Put some more flour on your fingers if you start to stick. Then you're going to go in a circle and start pulling apart. This might be a little bit too... I'm trying to watch through the camera as I'm doing this, so... Alright, I'm going to make a test piece here just to see if I got the right amount of heat. Then you're going to lay it down. I'm going to get another piece real quick. Alright, sorry about that, folks. I was recording and my card was full, so you didn't get to see me finishing it, but I will do it again. You want to flip them when they start... Let's see if focus here. So you want to flip them when they start having, well, this one's a little overcooked, but when they start having those little burnt marks on them. So we're going to try this again, now that I freed up some space on the card. Coat your hands in flour. You're going to pull a piece off. You're just going to make it round. You can drop it in. You don't want to handle it too much, otherwise it'll start to fall apart on you and you run into problems there. But you just keep on going, and if you fill up, focus here. If you fill up the pan, it'll cool the pan down if you're quick about it, but you just gotta watch your heat there. You might have to turn it up a little bit, but I usually do only a couple at a time, just like this. So then I'll just move it over and put the next one in. Then you can check your first one you put in. It's not quite yet. So everybody's cooking temperatures may vary on what they're using, and I gotta turn my heat up a little bit because it cooled down the pan. One of my favorites is cooking over a fire, because you get that really nice, that's kind of smoky flavor. But yeah, you're gonna want it to look like that when you flip it. That's a pretty good piece there, and it'll plump up a little bit. And you can see they're starting to plump up as well. I don't know if I can focus here. Yeah, so they're starting to pump up pretty good. So you're going to check the first piece that you put in. And it's starting to turn. So then you can check your other pieces. Sometimes stuff can cook uneven. And if they're burning too quick, you might have not enough oil in them, and then you might have too much oil in them if they're kind of looking like fry bread, just like that piece. I had too much oil in, so yeah, it's all about practice too. So you just keep working at it, and you can get better. I might have to add some oil in this because, as you can see, it's looks like it's getting a little dry, but alright, and then you just keep going until you run out of dough, and then you would have nice cowboy bread. And it's, you know, it's getting pretty thick, it's looking pretty nice. Alright, I will show you when I get done how many pieces I made. Alright, we are all finished here. I had about, I'd say between the small pieces and the medium-sized pieces, I had about 20 pieces total, but the kids ate some, so as you can see, they're nice thick pieces, and this one's really hot yet. They're cooked all the way through. And like I said, cooking times vary, temperature varies because of the materials you're using, whether it be like a glass top, induction stove, if you're using gas, and if you're using cast iron or stainless, or if you're using a griddle top, or it all depends. So this was just a quick tutorial on a very low ingredient cowboy bread that turns out good for me most of the time. So alright, hopefully you guys get to cooking and make your own bread. Alright, thanks for watching.